Good evening, everyone. So today I'm going to talk about a historical illustration named James Jean. He was one of the youngest artists way back in the day, and he got some good traditional and digital art formats, and his is really colorful and stuff. And the first slide I made, I want to put something that represents the traditional style. And his is really beautiful, all the pink, the greens and yellow. It pops out really well and it still keep that traditional style way back in the Chinese scrolls and music, all types of traditional style. My name is Janae, and Joe will do the second part of showing different types of his artwork. And I hope you guys enjoy that last slide when Joel talk about it. So let's get into the biography. James Jean was born in Tippy, Taiwan, 1979, and later moved to New Jersey with his family at a young age. He wanted to focus on commercial art, painting, illustration. And at that time, when he first got into America, it focused on American comics based on the American people. He was doing a lot of cover artists to make books at a company called DC Comics, where celebrities were famous back in the day, and he wanted to make some different types of styles. His first major dream was music, but he ended up falling in love with illustration art. But anyway, he didn't really have that taste of music that he wanted. He felt like illustration helped him to find a better career that he wanted to do something what he loved instead of not loving what you want. And because some traditional parents will tell you, oh, become a doctor and lawyer. Art and some other stuff won't make that much money in the long run. But James Jean, he did what he wanted and he went to follow his dream instead of his parents telling him you need to make more money versus something that won't work in the long run. But he got his own option and he's still very young. Education. James goes to a school of visual art in New York City where he graduated in 2001. This is the School of Art. I was trying to find a picture of the, the older school, but this is the only thing I can find of. But he first tried to major in cartooning, but James ended up switching to illustration because he feel like he can advance his more graphic versus drawing cartoons all day. He doesn't want to do that the rest of his life. So here's the chart history of designer works. So 2001, he did traditional paper and painting based on oil, pastel, charcoal, wood, acrylic. And later on in 2003, he did graphic and digital. And then 2006, he went back to digital ink and acrylic. And then 2008, mixed media on paper. James met two designers at the School of Art named Hiroshi and Yoshi. It was in New York. James has always have a tradition to go painting, then digital on the computer. It depends on the thought of an artist who really wants to create art in paper or digital. Influence on pop culture. Well, pop culture was really popular back in the day, so he had to learn a lot about that too. He wasn't a gallery artist. His famous work on crash pop culture took a whole new level illustration. It was more of like a punk style type, but then he wanted to make something that's really loose, but something different. He plays a complementary art that can reflect on issue of diversity in global world. one of his famous work called Adrift. So this is based on the real world of his hometown, and she's trying to save her life. There's a fire going around, different types of blues, and it shows a lot of emotion. Who they inspire. I mentioned the two designers. So one of them do posters and constructional artists. The other one do Japanese printmaking. That takes a lot of time and consuming, and very important to have a narrative to create something in artwork. He uses how to create some type of traditional style as long as he play with the art format. Who inspired them? Renaissance portrait, traditional Chinese scroll painting, Japanese woodblock prints. It is basically of his mindset to be imaginative to create the real world style. This is based on the old traditional Chinese scroll, the woodblock painting, and that's really time consuming. And here's the summary Adrift. By looking at a large-scale painting, James described a complementary image that represent the past that might happen in his hometown. He had to include elements traditional like Chinese, Japanese scroll painting, woodblock print, Renaissance portrait, and Amy in the complex composition. He was trying to experiment art historical genre in old and new, a style of Eastern and Western art making. So this is the large scale of the painting. And as you can see, I zoom it here and you can see the woman trying to save her life, the detail of the kimono, and the bird saving their life too. It's like an ocean wave they're trying to save from their hometown, like a storm, and the fire is burning everything. He's trying to represent his hometown, what's been going on so long. And it's really sad, depends on how bad the world is, but I'm glad he tried to describe what's been going on. My favorite is like the dark blues that he did, the shade, and the details of the Komodo with the birds and everything. And it looks so beautiful. And I have a feeling this is like a wood block. I see the lines. Yeah, like 1, 2, 3, 4, like putting it together. And it's very time consuming and you have to like paint each different detail. So thank you so much, guys. And I hope you enjoy the next part and hope you like this. Thank you.